we're all naive and can't see the benefits. There is no benefit. It's an inferior product. I mean, the government just do not understand the UK van market one bit and flogging this dead horse. Nobody wants these electric vans. Hi there, welcome back to the Car UK channel. Right, today I'm going to talk to you about an article which again has infuriated me. More propaganda that has come out of the UK government and the bodies that support the promotion of electric vehicles. Not that I'm wholly against electric vehicles. I think they're suitable for certain types of people. You know, there'll be an answer for them, people buying electric vehicles. But vans, I struggle with. I really do struggle with. I can see an arguments for electric cars, but when it comes to vans, no, I'm just not with it. Really, I am not. Particularly large vans, like this article has shown in the picture here. Now, this article that's infuriated me here is from motortrade.com, and it is an article about the plug-in van truck grant extended to 2027. So those of you who don't know, the electric UK van market is quite heavily subsidised with government grants. Basically, the government is trying to incentivise businesses, tradespeople to buy electric vans. And that's obviously to try and conform to its electric mandate, its zero emissions mandate, which for vans actually is 2035. For cars, they want to ban them in 2030, so no diesel or petrol vehicles from 2030 onwards, unless they're hybrid, and then it's 2035. For vans, they actually have a more realistic target of 2035, but it's quite clear that the electric van market is not doing very well. The fact that people don't want to take these vans on for a number of reasons we'll discuss in this video, and the government basically has decided that the grant they were putting in, which basically give discounts of £2.5 grand, I think it is, for small vans, £5 grand for larger vans, which was coming to an end, needs to be extended, and they actually extended it till 2027, and I would imagine they'll probably extend it further. So the actual article reads that the UK government today has confirmed that the plug-in van truck grant will be extended to at least 2027. The plug-in van grant gives a discount of £2.5 grand for small vans, £5 grand for large vans, £16 grand for small trucks, don't know many small trucks that are electric, and £25 grand for large trucks. Don't know many large trucks that are electric, to be honest with you. Maybe the odd one. It goes on to say that the future of roads minister, okay, Lillian Greenwood said that extending these grants is another decisive step to power Britain's transition to a cleaner transport while backing the industry that keeps the economy moving, driving new investments into EVs and helping businesses cut costs and expand. It also goes on to say, and I really like this one, by switching to electric, businesses could save, I love the word could save more than £2,800 annually on petrol fuel alone. This support is helping to drive growth as part of the government's plan for change. I mean, it's just bollocks. I mean, it really is. It is absolute bollocks. The reality is that if we take the recent figures that we have, last year, the entire electric van market in the UK, all sales were just a fraction over 6%. So 94% of all the vans sold last year were not electric. So it's obvious that this push to get people into electric vans is not working, and taking away the grant would only do one thing, which is dramatically drop those sales even further, because there are some people who will probably want to take up the grants. Now, I would give an argument that small electric vans, which only get the small grant anyway, £2.5 grand, you could argue that particularly in cities like London, there may be some use there. It's probably a lot more electric points for that. You know, short distances, they've not got a great deal of range anyway. I can see an argument there. But most vans sold are larger panel vans, and most companies who are buying vans usually buy mid-size or large vans, particularly your fleet carriers. And they are quite clearly not taking up electric vehicles. They're just not doing it in anywhere near numbers that the government first envisaged they would. And there are very, very good reasons for that. The first one is that these vehicles, particularly large panel vans, are very heavy, don't have very good range at all. They actually are effectively overweight as well, so they had to change the law so you could actually drive vans that were not really meant to be driven on 3.5 ton licenses to accommodate the fact that they are having far more batteries stuffed into them to be able to get more range. But even if you let's take the van on this picture here, which is a brand new Renault Master. that is, I think them about 240 odd mile range, and that is up to. So when they say up to 240 mile range, and bear in mind that'll be the top model, there'll probably be a lesser model, it'll be even less, but let's go with the 240 mile range. Basically just knock 10% off, because that is in certain conditions, you know, and that's the maximum they've achieved. Reality, everyday driving, you are not going to get 240 mile range out of your Renault Master. And that can restrict people, because if you are a courier company, you don't want to get caught short in a van that on a cold day might only produce 170 mile range if you are going, you know, around the country delivering parcels and having to then stop and plan your journey. Whereas you don't have that problem with a diesel van. You just literally fill it up, and you can find plenty of places to refill it up again, and the range of that van will probably be, well, it's certainly 150 more miles of range in the equivalent Master van. But the government's saying, but if you change to electric, you can save £2,800 annually on fuel. And I don't know where they've got that figure from. I suspect that that is a slightly inflated figure. But if we just roll that figure for one moment, let's assume that they are somehow right. And if you switch to an electric vehicle, you will save just over £2,500 a year in fuel costs. Bear in mind, you still have to pay for electric, and electric has not exactly been cheap over the last few years. The problem is the cost of the van is considerably more than the diesel equivalent. So, quick example, the van in this picture, again, that Renault Master, brand new electric van, one of those, 40 grand. And that is after, as well, this discount grant has been applied. They're about 47, 48 grand, I think, if I remember rightly. There's about 40 grand, and that's plus VAT as well. So if you're not VAT registered, you're going to be forking out even more money. Most businesses are. But that's 40 grand against the diesel equivalent version. I've gone online today and I can find brand new 25 plate vans with 8 miles, 10 miles on the clock, delivering mileage, ready to roll, and they are a shade under 25 grand. So the reality is that if you were to buy a new electric van, you'd have to keep it for many, many years to get the fuel saving back you've outlaid anyway over buying the diesel. So you're going to spend 15 grand more minimum. So there really isn't any saving. And bear in mind that most businesses who are predominantly going to be buying these vehicles, they change their vans sort of every 3 or so years, the national average is. Now, I'm no great mathematician. I only got a D in GCSE maths, but you're still way better off buying a diesel van and paying the fuel prices than you are buying an electric one. And that is the problem with the van market. The range is not good enough. The payload is rubbish as well. So you get a better payload in a diesel van. You get a better range in a diesel van. It's considerably cheaper, even after you take out the savings of not having to put the fuel in and using electric. It's still cheaper. And even if you're a small-time business and you've only got, like I said, a few vans, you've still got to buy all the charging points and stuff like that. So it's even more money you've got to lay out. And that is the problem with what the government's trying to do. It's trying to push electric vans, but it's not offering you something that's better and superior and trying to say, right, well, this is the reasons why. Because if it was superior, people are not daft. If a new product comes along that's far better than what we have, it's really easy to market and get people into them. That's not happening with electric vans. And its simple reason is, it's not because it's been marketed incorrectly and we're all naive and can't see the benefits. There is no benefit. It's an inferior product. An electric van is inferior to what we already have. So why would someone go and buy it? It doesn't make any sense. Literally, the only argument I can come up with for having an electric van, a large electric van especially, is that you're a bigger company, you know, maybe a national company, and you want to portray a green image, right? That is literally the only benefit, because you're not financially better off at all, because you're going to pay, what? In this example, we use 15 grand more minimum, probably more, but at least 15 grand more for an electric van, the same equivalent. And even with the petrol savings, you're still down, it's still costing you more. They've got less payload, far less range. You've got to then pay for infrastructure as well to accommodate this electric charging points, and you've got to maintain that. And if you imagine if you've got loads of charging points, they've got to be maintained, they will go wrong, they'll break. You don't have that problem with a diesel vehicle. You just find a petrol station, and if that one's broken or that one's shut down, you go and find another one. It's really easy to fuel up an ICE vehicle. I mean, honestly, this is just bonkers. It really is. Trying to spin this into some sort of positive thing. Look, if you're selling electric vans, I'm sure you'll be loving the fact that they're keeping these grants. Great. I'm, pleased for you. But the reality, Joe Public out there, tradespeople out there, small businesses, large businesses, are they about to go and fly out and buy all these electric vans now? No. Will they do in a few years' time? Well, if inevitably they get pushed towards the cliff edge, you will see automatically will see uptake anyway, because there'll be no alternative. Now, maybe in, well, we've got 10 years to go until the ban now on vans. At least it's in 2035. That is a good thing, because they say this would be a real crisis in the industry if they were about to ban them in 2030. But hopefully by then, maybe electric vehicles would have developed further, and we'll have great range, and there'll be a different kettle of fish altogether. You know, we'll have a different animal. And I hope that's the case. Or we find other ways of powering vans that are low emissions, or we get another government in, or a change of policy by whatever government's in, that actually goes, do you know what, maybe we need to be a bit more realistic here, and having low emissions in some cases is better than having zero emissions and basically decimating an entire industry. Because vans in the UK are the backbone of Britain, particularly small businesses and fleets, obviously. You know, your local builder, your plumbers, your delivery drivers. Millions and millions of tons of goods is used on our roads and delivered by small vans and LCVs every single day. Don't get sucked into this rubbish about electric vans of the future. To me, honestly, I do not see it. Currently now, with technology we got, it's for the birds. It is for the birds. It's useless. But anyway, that is my rant over. But I want to know what your thoughts are on electric vans. Maybe I'm wrong. And actually, you've got electric vans and they're brilliant. And I'm not seeing this the right way. Let me know in the comments. Maybe you've had bad experiences with electric vans. I know plenty of people who've had some real issues with electric vans and actually ended up going back to diesels. I want to hear your thoughts on this. And also about the market going forward. Where do you think we'll end up with this? Are we going to end up in a real crisis in 10 years' time if the government doesn't change its tack on how we look at zero emissions, particularly in the commercial sector? Because with cars, you can see how we might get there. I still think it's a bad idea. I still think, you know, there could be a lot more that could be done to resolve it and change and be a little more realistic. I don't actually believe you need to actually ban combustion engines, but that's a completely another story. But definitely on vans, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Electric lorries, we see them coming anytime soon? No, don't be daft. You know, it's just not going to happen. It really isn't. But I'll stand corrected. If anyone else is out there has got anything to say on these vans and commercial vehicles and lorries as well, we can say this discount applies to lorries. Not that I know many electric lorries out there. Let me hear your thoughts in the comments. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. Now, those of you who are new to the Car UK channel, please check out my other content. I am a car dealer in Crewe and I deal in used cars, but particularly the cheap end of the UK car market. And I do lots of vlogs, going to auctions, buying vehicles, doing them up, selling them on the pitch, giving you my insights into the industry, what to look out for, what cars to buy, particularly in the cheap end of the UK car market. So if you're interested in that type of content, might be worth a look, and definitely worth a like and subscribe as well. So make sure you do that for me. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thanks again, chaps. Let me hear your thoughts in the comments as mentioned, and I'll see you all in the next one.